Every year, Kyler Murray is right on the cusp of breaking into the elite group of quarterbacks, but every year, something seems to be holding him back. Last year, the Cardinals were 6-6 heading into Week 12, but lost 3 of their next 4 and missed the playoffs. Kyler's game is right on the brink of the elite, and the Cardinals as a team are right on the fringe of the playoffs. So, what is holding them back? Kyler Murray is awful when pressured. Of course, all quarterbacks aren't as good when pressured, but when compared to the rest of NFL quarterbacks, Kyler was easily one of the worst in the entire league. You can see his numbers here when pressured. His yards per attempt ranked 34th, his QB rating was 39th, and he threw the 3rd most interceptions. When he's kept clean, no pressure, and playing from the pocket, he's awesome. He's consistently very accurate, he hits his receivers on time, out in front, right in the hands very consistently. As a quarterback throwing the ball undisturbed, Kyler is exceptional. But if the pocket is pushed back into him, if a free rusher is coming from depth, anytime his rhythm is getting thrown off in some way, his game completely crumbles. Against the Rams, the Cardinals scored just 9 points, and because Los Angeles created constant pressure, Kyler failed to lead his team to victory. On 2nd and 10 with 5 minutes left in the game, he has his first read to the left, then his second read is a shallow crosser coming wide open across the formation. As the pocket closes in, instead of staying upright to take a hit while throwing, he feels the pressure and immediately goes down. A quick flick to Marvin Harrison here picks up at least 5 yards bare minimum and puts them in 3rd and 5. But instead, Kyler looks to go down and take less of a hit to protect himself, which hurts the team. This creates 3rd and 17 instead of a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 2 or 3, and the Cardinals don't get any points on the drive. Throughout his career, he's been known to fall over instead of taking the hit. He is not willing to stand in and get smoked for the betterment of the team. He's more worried about how badly the hit is gonna hurt. You can see Matthew Stafford, who consistently stands in the pocket knowing he's gonna get hit, and while it's brutal, it's simply a part of the quarterback's job description. If there's a free runner, you must stand in to take the hit to deliver the throw. It's these little plays during a game where instead of a short gain where Kyler hangs in and dumps it off, it's a loss, a sack, drive killers, and you only get around 6 or 7 of those every Sunday. And what's worse, if Kyler gets pressured on early drives 1, 2, 3, that affects everything else in his game for the rest of the game. I believe it could be due to him overthinking in the pocket. For example, when a Stafford gets pressured, he's thinking, sit in the pocket, get through my reads. But when Kyler's in the pocket, it's the same, those two, but then if there's pressure, get out of the pocket to run, fall down if I'm about to get sacked. How do I dodge pressure if it's coming free? Where can I escape to? Kyler has too much on his mind. All of these possible scenarios are a nightmare for his footwork, and the worst part is, because he's trying to escape or fall down, he drops his eyes to look for an open lane, which can leave open receivers open down the field. A quarterback dropping his eyes severely limits the deep passing game, because if Kyler's first deep read isn't open and he begins to feel pressure, he has to drop his eyes to find where to escape, so his eyes aren't down the field. This explains why his deep ball numbers were some of the worst in the NFL, where here he's getting this edge pressure, but instead of stepping up in the pocket or just getting smoked and delivering this over the zone linebackers' heads, he drops his eyes down to the pass rush and quickly finds his check down. On film, receivers will let you know what they're thinking with their body language, and look at Marvin Harrison, not at all happy with Kyler not anticipating this open space. You can just see early pressure start to get to Kyler over the course of the game. So even when it's not as intense on a given play, or even there's no pressure, he still feels the accumulated effects. On this play, he is a great matchup with the monster that is Trey McBride versus a smaller cornerback in Ahkello Witherspoon. McBride has this quick seam post and creates enough separation, but in the middle of the third quarter, Kyler's already been battered enough that he's not quite as precise with his accuracy, and you can see why putting the ball on the correct shoulder is so important in the NFL, and how the Rams' pressure affected Kyler throughout the game. Then on what ended up being the final play of the day, down 13-9, even when there's no pressure, Kyler rushes the throw. The Rams are doing a good job of disguising this cover zero blitz, where Josh Wallace is going to come free. But regardless, Kyler knows he's going to have just one-on-one man coverage no matter what based on the look. But he's still feeling the accumulated pressure from the entirety of the game, so look how he gets us out just a little too quick. It domes McBride like Monica Lewinsky, and unfortunately, it's intercepted. Game over. It is just painful to watch concepts that need time to develop, then come open, but Kyler is too worried about getting hit, so the offense's overall potential is limited. For example, the Cardinals have this same side sail concept, which is supposed to stress 3 levels of the defensive coverage, where most coverages only have 2 defenders to one side. Kyler gets to the top of his drop, but the concept hasn't developed yet. Zay Jones is still working to stretch his safety, and Trey McBride hasn't threatened the sideline. But as Kyler hits the top of his drop, he has a super clean pocket up front, besides the pressure to his left. But instead of stepping up, you can see him drop his eyes to find a lane to run, then tries to avoid the defense and takes a sack. At the same point in the down where Kyler gets to the top of his drop, look at how if he just extends a little bit while keeping his eyes down the field, the safety Damani Richardson now has to make a decision on the 2 receivers. McBride comes open, he's not happy. He knows Kyler is leaving plays on the field. Watching and studying the Cardinals film, my mind kept coming back to something this offense doesn't have: the alert post. Typically, we've talked about alerts that are pre-snap decisions, where if you like the ISO matchup outside one-on-one and there's no safety creeping over the top, even if the quarterback is supposed to go to this side, he can say, F all that, I don't need to read it out, I'm just going to throw it over here. As you can see, the Cardinals do have this concept, but what they don't have is the deep alert post, which can be read pre or post snap. But if the safety drives down over the middle, late in the down that post opens up, and the quarterback can bomb the ball deep. He needs to keep his eyes down the field, needs to stay in the pocket, needs to be willing to get smoked by oncoming pressure, but Kyler simply hasn't been able to do those. And what's maybe the most frustrating about him, he is so close to being really good. As I mentioned earlier, he's fantastic when he's kept clean and in rhythm, and in many ways he's developed into a really nice quarterback. Mentally, he's taken a big step, he's doing a better job commanding the line of scrimmage, where here the Cardinals motion wide receiver Greg Dortch across the formation. Instead of the cornerback Devon Witherspoon following him, the Seahawks rotate Witherspoon back to safety and have safety Julian Love rotate down to the same side as Dortch. If the Seahawks are in man coverage, which they are, that means that one of safety Julian Love or safety Kobe Bryant is one-on-one in man coverage against Michael Wilson, so Kyler audibles. He sees a cornerback on Dortch, Love on Trey McBride, and Bryant on Wilson. So he hits the top of his drop and knows he has the matchup and hits a big home run. On the rare occasions he feels comfortable with a collapsing pocket, there are flash plays where you see what he could be. Now we have that same 3-level sail concept as before, but now McBride is running to the opposite sideline. And watch how despite Kyler having a tighter pocket with potential pressure, instead of dropping his eyes to look for an escape hatch, or just falling over, he slides up in the pocket, McBride is covered by the zone linebackers, but because Kyler hangs in there, he makes a nice throw for an explosive play, and proves that he can do it. He's just always felt like he's one-ish tier away from the elite guys, and it's always been hard to figure out why he hasn't made the jump. We've talked previously about how he doesn't target the middle of the field, and that can still be an issue too, so there are just these little things that aren't a part of his game. It's like slowly sliding pieces out from a Jenga set. The more you can't do as a quarterback, the less your offense can do as a whole, and eventually, it collapses. When you take out handling defenses under pressure, not throwing over the middle, those end up being the little tiny things that keep you from winning games and making the playoffs. Hell, it's just 1 or 2 plays a game that can make all the difference, where maybe instead of that 5 or 6 yard gain you get to make it 2nd or 3rd and medium, you're dropping your eyes and taking a sack, killing that drive, leaving potential points on the field. Kyler is in a crucial part of his career where it feels like he's either gonna take the next step and create a real solid run with the Cardinals for the next few years, or he'll stagnate, they'll move on, and then he'll start to hop around team to team. He's an incredible talent between his arm strength and ability to move, But that movability is always tricky to coach, because the quarterback might give up on a play too early, receivers come open as you're dropping your eyes to scoot around, and even if you pick up a couple, you're ultimately hurting your team. The Arizona Cardinals and Kyler are at a crossroads. 2025 is huge. As the pressure continues to fire up, can Kyler Murray hang in and take the heat?